There's controversy tonight in New York over religion and the pandemic. The churches in the Diocese of Brooklyn and across the country are shut down to prevent the spread of the disease. Many synagogues and other places of worship have done the same. Still, City Hall is issuing a warning. Joining us now is Rabbi Brad Hirschfield, president of the National Jewish Center Learning and Leadership. And Rabbi, thanks for being with us. Mayor Bill de Blasio is telling New Yorkers they can't get together in person for worship. He's threatening to permanently close any churches or synagogues that don't follow that order. What the mayor wants to accomplish is understandable, but is that warning troubling?
It's not troubling at all. I don't know if it's the best possible plan, but lives are at stake here. And people who don't understand that the mandate to protect human life trumps everything else simply don't get what's going on. I don't think threatening people that you'll have permanent closure is the way to go, but I would start ticketing people. I would punish people. I think that this happened in Lakewood, New Jersey a couple of days ago. Families were written citations for endangering the welfare of children who they brought to a public event. So the truth is, I might quibble with a permanent closure of any house of worship, but 100%, I think the impulse, as painful as it is to see a church or a synagogue or a mosque or any place of religious worship closed, nothing could be more sacred than to padlock those doors and for people to stay home.
Here in the Diocese of Brooklyn, churches are closed and public masses are suspended. And here on Net TV, live masses in many languages are being televised. Can the Jewish community conduct similar services like that?
It can, it does, it is. Yes, the Jewish community is rising to meet this challenge in all kinds of ways, even going beyond past practice. Look, I'm an Orthodox rabbi. I don't use electricity on Sabbath and holidays, but already we are finding creative solutions. And in my case, the Passover Seder Wednesday night will include my mother, who lives alone in California and has no other way to be with people to celebrate Passover. There will be a screen at our table with lots of restrictions of what we can't do and can't touch, and it'll run out of energy, and that'll be it. But the fact of the matter is that if we put people and life at the center, as I think our traditions do, we will find the solutions we need.
In Jerusalem, the ultra-Orthodox are ignoring the government restrictions to stop the spread and are still holding weddings and funerals with large crowds. These scenes from Jerusalem show members of the Israeli Orthodox community gathering as a SWAT team tries to clear the streets. And according to the Israeli government, infection rates in ultra-Orthodox areas are higher than the rest of the country. And we're seeing this kind of action in many places among some evangelicals and others. How do you impress upon people that these restrictions must stay in place? And, you know, with marriages, when it comes to marriages, people are worried that they shouldn't change the date of their marriage.
Look, I appreciate that people want to affirm life in the face of death. That is one of the great gifts that our faiths give us. And a wedding is a profound celebration of life. And there is a tradition in a Jewish tradition of not deferring weddings for that very purpose. But again, the reason we don't defer weddings is to celebrate life. Here, to have that wedding can extinguish life. So not only should we must. I also want to be clear that it's a minority of the ultra-Orthodox community.
Right. Unfortunately, even in a crisis, the racist and the anti-Semite don't stop spreading their hate. Last week, the FBI in New York reported that some horrible groups are encouraging people to spread the virus to the Jewish people. What is it in people that gives rise to this sort of evil?
Look, we can't answer for all evil. It's a great question, but I want to be very modest. I don't want to even think about what causes it right now. I want to stop it.
Right.
I'm trying to listen to law enforcement to head that off where we can. But I think most of our energy should not be about fighting that tiny minority. That's what law enforcement does, and thank God for them. But looking out for those we can who actually are closer at hand.
All right, not only are we plagued by the virus, but also by a lot of uncertainty about the future. How can faith help us through this crisis?
I think that's the essence of faith, right? That the world as we currently encounter it is not all there is to know. And so we're the people who should be taking the lead in saying, no, we don't know what's coming, but we believe that it's part of a larger purpose. And the only question faith-based people should be asking now is not to speak with certainty about what's coming, because no one knows what's coming, but to speak with certainty about the fact that we have a resource called faith that allows us to be our best, most compassionate selves when other people are tempted not to be.
All right, Rabbi Brad Hirschfield, the president of the National Jewish Center for Learning and Leadership. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Stay healthy and stay well.